Hey everybody, Corey Noel, the veteran trainer here, and today's the day. All right. Several people have inquired about this, and I keep talking about it. Well, today I'm going to do my review of the BeFitNow Mr. Monster. All right. So I hope information here helps to guide you towards a decision on what functional trainer or what you're looking for in a functional trainer. I'm going to be going over some of the pros, the cons, things I would like to see changed, added, and just overall what I like and don't like about this thing. Okay, so I'll be frank right from the start. I love it. Okay, but there are some things that I'm going to discuss here in this video that I would like to see either change or different. Okay, so stick around, and again, hope you like the video. I'll see you at the finish line. Cheers. Okay, so also, I'm going to do this in no particular order. I'm not following a script or anything like that. So I'm just going to be randomly all over the place. All right. But I will list my pros and cons down below, and maybe some of the things that I've done as well in the narrative down below anyway. All right. Yeah. So this thing showed up in a giant crate that weighed 800 pounds. So I went to the shipping yard. I had my trailer. They used a forklift loaded up on the back of the trailer. I hauled it home. When I backed it into the driveway, I just disassembled the crate right there in the yard, and I just started bringing parts in. Me and my brother-in-law just started bringing parts in into the gym, right? That was getting it home. So they will deliver right to your door. I just was impatient because I didn't want to wait till the next day. For some reason, or I think it was the driver broke his arm, so he wasn't working that day. He was at the hospital getting his arm cast or whatever. And I was like, no, I got a trailer. I'm coming to pick it up. I can't wait no longer. I'd already waited a few months, 2-3 months or something like that. So I was like, I want it now, today. Okay, so anyway, before I start, I'm going to go way back to when I assembled this thing. All right? Assembly was not as scary as you may think. Okay? I'm fairly handy. You know, I'm not a master, mechanic or a master carpenter or anything like that, but I'm a fairly handy guy. And this thing, which I was expecting to take a long time because it came in like 1,000 pieces and it was parts. My gym floor was covered in parts and wrapping material and stuff like that. I have a video about that. You can check it out. I'll link it after. But anyway, it was like 2 to 3 hours. I had my brother-in-law help me with the big heavy components, but after he left, I just kind of picked away at it, and there was some drilling that I did, and I'll talk about that after, that I don't calculate that into the time of assembly, but 2 to 3 hours to put this thing together. And again, I thought there was no real challenge, is what I'm trying to allude to. So yeah, don't be afraid when this thing shows up in a million pieces, because if you follow it step by step, it's pretty straightforward. All right. So before I get right into the whole Mr. Monster, I'm going to go through the pile of accessories that came with this thing real quick, and my pros and cons. All right. So first off, we have a short straight bar attachment. And I think immediately you can see the problem here. Okay, so this is the one that it came with it. BeFit, you got to replace this thing. All right. This is one that I ordered on Amazon. All right. So you can immediately see the difference. This rotates, which is what you want when you get a straight bar attachment, because as you're doing, say, your tricep press downs or your bicep curls on the cables, this turns so that you are able to follow and stick to that form that's required for you building those muscles. All right. This rigid mount does not allow you to do that. Okay. So I have literally never used this thing. BeFit, get one of these, baby. You can do it. I know you can. Anyway. Okay. So, and leads me to the next one. This is your lat pull down bar, the wide grip pull down bar. Okay. I use it. Nothing wrong with this. My dogs are going nuts. Apologize. It does what I need it to do. I use it somewhat of the time, but I have upgraded to the urethane accessory kit there, which I do use quite a bit instead. But there are still the odd times where I will use this for like the super wide lat pull downs. Okay. Anyway, all right. Okay, next one. We got the individual handles. These are sufficient. I would prefer them to be metal. Reason being, if you look closely, sorry, I did a video early on when I first got it, and the snap links were marring it up quite a bit. Not a deal breaker here, okay? You know, just really marring it, trying to get a good angle here. There you go. It was marring up the plastic quite a bit. The snap links on the cables, actually, is what I'm talking about here. So, not a deal breaker, okay? But they're sufficient. Again, they rotate here in the middle. That's what you want, okay? So you can follow and stick to form, and they're not rigid. All right. We got the classic rope as well. Great. Always love the rope for doing certain exercises. Even though I bought a Vulcan strap, the rope is still a good go-to. All right. All right. So next, we got rugged J cups. You know, okay. These things are rock solid, man. Like 1/4-inch steel. You know, very rock solid. Okay. A nice rubber spot here, so it's not marring up your bar. The only thing I would like to change with these is if they had the higher back, so that when you're re-racking, you're not slamming into the rack itself, rather the actual J cup, all right? So that would be a good improvement there, BeFit. All right, so all you got to do is increase these by say 3-4 inches and extend this rubber. And then you got something to slam your bar against and bring it down when you're re-racking, okay? For the other one, you'll see we have a various holes here, and then a hole through the center here as well, okay? See that? All right, so this is for another accessory. I'll show you right now. It is a knee pad accessory, okay? So this one, it comes with a couple pins, and one is for pinning it, securing it to the J cup itself. And then the other one is for setting the desired angle or height that you want it at. All right, height, you can also adjust the height wherever you set the J cup on the rack, okay? But yeah, very sturdy, very solid, well made, these things. And the pads rotate, so if you're doing Bulgarian split squats outside the rack, if you're doing any type of pull downs outside the rack, you know, this is a great attachment, okay? Again, very well made. Like all the attachments they have are rugged, very rugged, all right? Okay, next one, here we go. Safety bars, again, solid construction, 1/4-inch steel, all right? And then the rock solid rubber, if you gotta place your bar down on it, it's not gonna mar the hell out of it, okay? I like them. They do what I need them to do, okay? Next one here. All right, we got our dip bars. Man, like, it's got to weigh, well, my batteries are dead in the scale. This thing, it's got to weigh at least, let's see, 20 pounds. So they got a good weight to them. These things are constructed really well. Rock solid grips. They don't spin or anything like that. They're locked on there nice and tight, and they're held on with a screw cap, okay? Very, very sturdy padding, very well constructed, and I use them all the time. You probably see some of my videos. I use them for dips. The only thing I would say is that when they're mounted to the cage, they're straight. Okay? So what I'm getting at here is if you're focusing, whatever you're focusing your dip on, if you're doing chest or if you're doing triceps, it would be nice if they were slightly angled. Now, to get through that, I just simply change the angle of my arms when I'm doing my dips, okay? And plus, you see my videos, I also use bands to take that strain off my shoulders. But I like them a lot, and I use them a lot, okay? All right, so next, you're asking, what the hell are these? Well, up here is the chin-up bar, the pull-up bar, okay? They came with these on them, okay? And it's just a rubber sleeve that slips over the wide grip spots on the chin-up bar itself, or the pull-up bar, okay? I'm not a fan, okay? One, when you're doing your movements, they move and they start to slide. Not safe, okay? Could you glue them on? Yeah, I could. Do I like them? No, I don't. Am I upset that BeFit sent these with the cage? No, not at all. Not at all. I took them off immediately. I never even used these, so they've never been on the machine. So no fault to you, BeFit, but I use hockey tape. I like the way hockey tape grips, and then it's not such a it's a more solid grip, where this is like a little spongier, where I just didn't like that. Okay, so again, that's a personal preference, that one. All right, I can't damn BeFit for that one. All right, next one. All right, we got these giant ass pins right here, and at first I thought these were for plate loading these stacks, but they're not, because they don't fit in the stacks. And I realized, here, I'll bring you with me so you can see what I'm talking about. So these are, all right, if you see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pinholes right here. They're on both sides, okay? And these things are gonna go through. You can pin lock them on the other side. Now I'm assuming this is for when you're using bands on your squats or your deadlifts or your shrugs or your bench press or chains or whatever the case may be, all right? So they come with 4 of them, okay? I personally don't use them, so I can't critique these at all because I don't use them. So that's simple. Okay, last we got these bar clamps, all right? Old school spring-loaded bar clamps. They sent 6, and at first I was like, what the hell do I need 6 for? And then I realized these are for your pig storage, your plate storage, okay? You put them on there if you don't want them falling off, all right? I've never had any problem with them coming close to falling off, but if you're a super aggressive trainer and shit is fucking vibrating all over the place, you might need to clamp these on there for seat. Anyway, they sent 6, that's what they're for. I don't use them. I don't use them on my actual barbells or the Smith, because I have these ones here from Power Guidance. All right, you've probably all seen these before. They work great. Snap on. They secure your plates very well. Okay, so another accessory here is the Landmine attachment. As you can see, bolted very securely, 3/4 inch bolts, rock solid to the base of the Mr. Monster. Okay. And this very smooth operation, okay? Constructed with a bearing system that helps this thing rotate and spin very smoothly, okay? You can see here, plastic sleeve inside to protect your bar when it's inside there. It's not gonna mar the hell out of it, all right? And yes, it's hard bolted, so you're not removing it and getting it out of the way, but it's not that bad, okay? I just keep it kind of turned off towards the back, so when I'm walking around, I'm just aware of it at all times. When I'm walking around to grab plates or adjust my stack, but I love it. I use it. I use it for the T-bar rows or for shoulder pressing. You can do like the single arm barbell shoulder pressing. I've done some videos on that before. So anyway, yeah, another great attachment. All right, so last attachment. If I can get it off the damn floor here. I don't have any nails. There we go. Okay, is the leg press. Simply just a piece of diamond steel diamond plate. All right, and for mounting this thing, pretty cut and dry. You got these U-bolts it comes with. All right, and it simply goes over your bar underneath. It comes up through the 2 holes that are up top, or sorry, that are in the middle of the plate. A couple of nuts, and that is how simply this thing is mounted. Okay. So I'll put it on in this is the manner in which I put it on. Okay. Just give me a second here, just so I can demonstrate this a little better. Okay, so now what I'll do is I just hand tighten these. Okay, just finger tight, spin it around, and then I'll identify center. There we go. All right. And that's that. I leave it that loose so that when I'm pressing, this thing can adjust angles as I see fit. All right. I've had videos too where I also use reusable zap straps, and I strap these to this rod here so it's not getting fetched up on the catches. Okay. And that allows me to leg press that freely up and down without any problems. Okay. So at first I was not sure, but I like it a lot and I use it all the time. Okay, so number one reason I was looking for a functional trainer as opposed to the power rack I had before. All right, having a Smith machine and having a quality Smith machine. All right, this thing is rock solid, glides so smooth, never fetches, never catches, is never unbalanced, no matter how much weight you got on this thing. Okay. Rock solid catches to secure this, several catches up and down the machine for you to re-rack if you're stuck in the movement or you're at full extension or whatever. And lots of room on the outside of the bars for loading plates on there. Really good, strong springs and like almost half inch, probably like 3/8 thick steel for safety bars built on here. Okay. Just was very skeptical at first when I pulled the trigger on buying this thing, because I was like, please be good, because I've seen some machines that have Smith machines on them that are just horrendous. And when I mean horrendous, I mean like very unbalanced, very not smooth. All right, not smooth, not just and catchy and stuff like that. Okay, so anyway, so here we go. This is what I mean by rock solid. I'm not sure how this is fabricated, and I'm not sure how it's built inside, but the bearings in here, so smooth. And you can see again, this is like 1/2 inch steel catches, several catches all the way up and down the machine. Good knurling on it. All right. And this is a vertical Smith machine. So there's no angle to this whatsoever. This is straight up and down. Okay. And again, here's the safety bars, the safety catches here, and you can adjust those anywhere you see fit, and rock solid, sturdy springs. Okay. So over the moon about the Smith machine. And some people will tell you, don't use a Smith machine, it sucks. Don't listen to that shit. Okay. If you deal with injuries or whatever the case may be. And other people will say, oh, it doesn't help you battle muscle imbalances. Come on, people. All right. A Smith machine is a fantastic tool in the home gym. All right. It allows you to just focus on a movement. Especially if you're a beginner and you don't have the stability, those stability muscles that are tuned to lifting weights, that is a great piece of equipment to start lifting and pressing on. Okay. So BeFit, you knocked it out of the park with the Smith machine. Awesome. Okay. So my only critique for the Smith machine, and this is unavoidable. Okay. This is unavoidable. It's got nothing against BeFit. I'm pretty sure, I'm 100% positive. That's a bold statement. That any machine that has any functional trainer that has a Smith machine is going to have the same issue. All right. So you're either, hang on, let me drop these all the way down. You're either going to have a tripping hazard that you have to step over if I'm using my plate-loaded pulley system at the rear of the cage. All right. So you either going to have a tripping hazard, or you're going to have a head smashing hazard. if you're tall like myself. You know, I'm 6 feet tall. So I'm 6 feet tall, and you can see, here, let me adjust the camera real quick. So I'm 6 foot tall, and you can see this comes up just above my shoulder. So I've got to duck a little bit to get out of the way. Now, BeFit, if you're watching, my way to improve this slightly is add another catch as high as you can. Get this thing right to the top of the glide bar, and then put a catch there that this could lock onto. And even though it would still be hitting me in the head, it would bring it up, you know, at least another good 8 inches, 8 to 10 inches. All right, so again, no fault of BeFits. Any functional trainer is probably going to have this issue. So it's just one thing you need to be aware of when you're using the machine at the back of the cage. I'll talk to you now about the adjustable cables, okay? So just have a look at this. Have a look at this. Very well built, very well, like ruggedly bolted on there. Is that even a word? Ruggedly, sure. Anyway, rock solid, okay? Very, very good construction on this thing. Solid, very well mounted to the uprights here, and very easy to operate. Pull the pin, slide and lock. Pull the pin, slide and lock. All right, and one hand operation on the way down. For ease of lifting, I always place another hand under here while I pull the pin just to lift it up without any issues. But never had a problem with these whatsoever. I love them to death. And I get a ton of use. If you've seen any of my videos, I get a ton of use out of these things. Another great feature is you can see the laser cut numbers to quickly identify where you're placing your pin at, where you're adjusting the height to, okay? Yeah. The only thing I'll critique about, and it's not even about the assembly or the cables itself, if you notice, I've got black electrical tape right here because this little metal cap, it is not formed to this rubber stopper here, okay? Now what I mean is so it was very loose fitting. And when the cable would be all the way down to the bottom, kind of see where I'm going here with this, and as I'd be doing my curls, it would slide down. This metal cap would slide down and it would get fetched up in here, causing some friction. All right, so to combat that, I just, you know, tape around it. You can see it's getting a bit chewed up. So I didn't have any hockey tape on standby. I ran out. But yeah, just simply taping it there. I was going to glue it and I thought, nah, maybe glue doesn't hold. So maybe I'll get around to doing both. I'll glue it and tape it again when this gets chewed up too much. Other than that, the operation of the cables, again, you can hear that how smooth that function is. All right, these glide so well, and I just, so many workouts do I use my cables for. You know, love them to death. Great addition to the Mr. Monster. Okay, talking about now the pull-up chin-up station. I'll call it station because there's several options going on here. So here you can see where I pulled off the rubber hand grip and replaced it with hockey tape. Okay, I did that here, did that on the inside, both these neutral positions. I never did it on the 45 position because I ran out of hockey tape. I'm a Canadian. Hockey tape's great for grip. So as a true Canadian, I put hockey tape on it. Yes, thank you. Just kidding. You can see I have a little addition in here. And BeFit, this would be a simple fix. Just, I bought a simple U-bolt, drilled a couple holes. It's nutted on the top, nutted underneath, and that's locked in nice and tight. And that is purely for me using my band when doing my pull-ups. Okay. And you've seen my videos. I use my band every time I do my pull-ups just to help drive those sets. All right. So a great bar, you know, great bar. I use, well, the three that are hockey taped here, I use all three of those positions when I do my pull-ups. Okay. So let's talk about the stacks. All right. It comes standard with a 132 pound stack each side. All right. I upgraded to the 220. Double check. I upgraded to the 220 pound stack. It also comes with 264 pound stack each side. All right. Really rock solid plate loaded bars on either side here, as you can see, for adding extra. And you're thinking 220, 264 pounds, would I really need it? Well, how strong are you? Yes, I have. And actually, what this really comes in handy for is each one of these is 11 pounds. Okay, so they jump in 11-pound increments. This assembly here is 17 pounds. So I'm actually at 237 pounds a side. Okay, but getting back to the plates, so 11-pound increments. Sometimes 11 pounds, if you're doing, say, side lateral raises, is too much. Okay, so I've got fractional plates, I've got 2.5-pound plates, I got 5-pound plates, and that makes just a slight increase that much better for your workouts and for targeting whatever muscle that is that you're working. Okay, so instead of an 11-pound jump, you can get those smaller plates that will help. You know, maybe 11 is just not enough, or 22 is just not enough, but 25 or 27 is. Okay, hope you're tracking that. Anyway, great pin for locking it all in place. They come with this great identifier stickers that clearly are marked off in kilos and pounds. All right, whichever you prefer. And they got a slight color coordination there. Just the lighter ones are green. You get into the orange ones up to 100, and then you're red from there on it. I had to get an extended rod to make the selector because it only comes with a standard size selector rod, which is the rod that goes down inside for where the pin locks into. Okay, so they sent me longer ones after I upgraded my stack. Okay, and what you may need to do inside these 4 holes, there's little Allen keys, and what they do is, if you can notice, you can see kind of the screw right here pressed against the plate. Well, these 4 you can use to adjust slightly so that this pin selector works. You can see it's a little tight there, so I might have to adjust it because every once in a while they might just, maybe just change slightly. Okay, but they're used for adjusting the rod's height so that you can get a good selector across all your plates. Okay, so just something to note. Great operation. I just demonstrated how smooth these things are, and I'm very happy with it. Some might say it's a bit loud. To me, that sounds like quality. Okay. Once I upgraded the stacks, I did have to shorten the cable because it made it that much longer. So I had to adjust the cable, and I got a quick hack video I'll link down below on how to shorten the cable. Real simple. Okay. Anyway, so that's a bunch of pros. The con, my only con, is the plate loaded bar on the inside here can be a little cumbersome if you're in there on a bench or a seat doing lat pull downs. When you get up, you're kind of having to make sure that these things, they're kind of in the way somewhat, and they're hard fixed. So these aren't removable. I don't know if having them removable would make them better, because I like how solid they are being welded to this piece here. Okay. Could you get away with just one? Could you get away with them being shorter? I'm not exactly sure, because I've had plates on here. I've had a couple 45s and maybe a 25 or a 10 or 15 or something like that on these, and you do run out of space quickly. Okay. So would they work just as well if they were removable? Maybe. Okay. Something to think about, BeFit. All right. Because and it's only for my lat pull downs. It's the only time I'm in there. Other than that, I don't have an issue with these at all. Okay. Right. So, Mr. Monster, in its name itself, this thing is a pretty substantial size of equipment. All right. Don't ask me dimensions off the top of my head. I'll dig that up and I'll put it in the comments down below. But I've got just under 8-foot clearance in my basement, and I'm probably clearing I'd say 8 to 10 inches above the top of the pulleys over here. Here, if I can get my camera up there. There, you can see. There's a definite gap between the ceiling and the pulleys, but it's at least 8-10 inches. Okay, so I've got lots of space here. Unfortunately, you may not have a 8-foot ceiling in your basement, so be very aware of when you're shopping for your monster and where you're going to place this thing, that you need a decent amount of clearance for it. Okay. Plus, if you're doing pull-ups, you don't smash your head on the roof when you're doing pull-ups. Okay, so yeah, I think that's something that goes without saying. Anyway, this thing is rock solid. Okay, it's not bolted to the floor and it never moves. All right, this thing doesn't shift, shake, rattle, anything. It's rock solid. Okay, having 220 pounds aside doesn't help, and not to mention all my plates. So, that helps to keep this thing grounded really well. So, yeah, doesn't move, doesn't shift, doesn't change position. So when you put this thing in place, you want it in place where you don't have to move it afterwards. Or, it's not saying you can't move it. I'm just saying it's going to be some work. Okay. So yes, I made sure I had this in place very well before I started putting the stacks on this thing. Because even without the stacks, it's rock solid. All right. Yeah, very well constructed, very well put together, very well thought out, very well laid out. Functional trainers there's a lot of similarities and a lot of them out there. All right. And you can nitpick to death to try and find the one that works for you. And I was commenting back and forth with one of my subscribers there yesterday, and she bought a different machine. And I had to look at it and I'm like, you know what? That's a great machine too. And no matter what machine you buy, you're going to love your machine. But there's still going to be little things that don't work for you that you would like to see changed, or you could maybe slightly modify, just like I've done here. Okay, simple, tiny little things that I've changed or adjusted or whatnot. And at the end of the day, you make a substantial purchase like this, you're gonna love it. Because if you hated it, oh my God, that would be horrible. Drop $3,000 on something you don't like. All right, I love it. I love working out in my office on this thing every day. Okay, that I think goes without saying. So, gonna discuss now my plate storage. So, I have bumper plates or urethane plates. They're not really bumper plates, but as you can see, I have them all spaced out evenly across the back bars here. It wasn't the case when I bought it. So if you see, there's pre-drilled holes here and down below. And what I did is I measured and evenly spaced and then re-drilled holes so that I can mount them all on there. Otherwise, I wouldn't have been able to get them all on there. The way they manufactured this was for traditional plates where you've got your large 45s, your mid-size 35s and 25s, and then your 10s and 5s that are a lot smaller. That's how this thing was designed. Okay, so some slight modification, and I was able to re-drill and mount these in a fashion where they sit as you see. Now, had I realized what I was doing, I probably would have tried to come up with a different solution. But here, I'll demonstrate this. So I'll take a tin, I'll put it on the plate loaded bar there, and I think you almost see where I'm going with this. Pull up, boom, it hits that plate. Okay, so there's usually when I'm only doing my seated rows here on this side, To combat that, I usually just remove these plates, get them out of the way if I'm full stack and more, you know, because that is probably the only exercise I'm doing which I'm going beyond stack. All right, so simple fix, but I love the storage, and I love the fact that I can have all my plates on there and easily accessible. They're not in the way, they're off the floor. Okay, they're saving me space in the gym. All right, so a minor little glitch there, and I simply just remove them to make things a little easier for myself. That's about it with that. Okay, so here we have the rear plate loaded pulley system. Okay, again, just like the Smith machine and the other pulleys, this thing is built very strong, very sturdy, glides super smooth. All right, and I've had no complaints with this whatsoever. I use this for my lat pull downs, and I've never had a problem. All right, it's because it's mounted nice and high. Here, I'll show you the mount. It's mounted nice and high up at the top here, so I get a great range of motion. Plus, we have this attachment here. As you can see, it's adjustable. Just a quick release pin there, and you can adjust this to hold yourself in place for when you're doing your lat pull downs once you get a little heavier. All right. And at the top here, if you so wish, you got a place to store your lat pull down bar. Okay. I don't use it. I keep everything mounted on the board over here with all the hangers and whatnot, just so I can keep the space free and I'm not knocking stuff all over the place. But anyway, yeah, the rear plate loaded pulley system is fantastic. I love it. All right, so one thing I didn't talk about earlier, talking about the snap links here. So this was one of my pretty minor hack. Okay, as you can see, it's threaded here. All right, so what there was a locking nut that once it was closed, you just spun it down so that this wouldn't open by chance when you're doing your movements. Well, what I found is, and the reason that my handles were getting all marred up was that little locking pin, or locking nut, I guess you could say. Simple solve, removed, and now I have a lot easier time getting my accessories on my snap links. Okay, that's how I fixed that one. So BeFit, do away with the locking snap links. Okay, so right here we got 3 little hangers, and I don't have nothing on here right now because I didn't want it in the footage. But what I normally do is I got my weight belt, I'll have my bands hanging here, and I'll usually have my single handles hanging there as well. And that's about it. So a nice little feature, yeah. Is it a deal breaker? No, just nice to have. Okay, so just to give you an idea, when you are using your J-cups, the cable's not impeded by this mounted to the cage, okay? And this is not rubbing or scratching or fraying or catching on these whatsoever, all right? Once this is under pressure, it's probably a good 1/4 inch or more away from the pin, but never once have I ever had a problem with it getting fetched up on the J-cups or the safety bars. So just quickly demonstrating the ease of putting your accessories on. Here's my giant pull-up bars. Pin in, slide over. That's simple, okay? And rock solid. There's a little movement there, yeah, because it's not super tight, which is not a bad thing, okay? Same thing with the safety bar. And same with your J-cup. Oh, sorry. There you go. All right. So simple operation, sturdy. They're doing what they need to do, and yeah, I'm happy with the safety bars. And like I said, just a quick critique about the J-cups. You can see here what I'm talking about now. Let me bring this camera over here. So again, just to get back to what I was talking about here, if this had a higher back, if it came up, say 4 or 6 inches, when you go to re-rack, it'll hit the J-cup instead of hitting this bar here and then coming down over top of this back to your J-cup, okay? So BeFit, just something to improve, that'd be nice. All right, I'm gonna quickly show you how to mount this exterior knee pad assembly here. All right, so our J cup that has the holes, all right? Not in that. Okay, so, first thing we're gonna do is lock it in place. That simple. And then for your adjustment, however high your bench is or whatever, there you go. It's locked in place. Okay? If you wanted it lower, whatever the case may be, right? Whatever exercise you're using this for. Do I use this often? Not much. Usually just the one exercise I use this for, and it's during for the cable hamstring curls. Okay, stand facing this pad, leg against the pad, and then just with the ankle attachments attached to the cable, I would do ham curls. All right, as a modified ham curl movement. Just another great attachment that you might even only use it for one or two exercises, but hey, you have it. All right, better to have and not need than to need and not have, I always. Just a quick demo of what I was talking about earlier on. I've got it set up, the knee pad assembly set up. I've got my ankle strap on. So I'm going to press my thigh into the pad, and then I'm just able to conduct my ham curl. All right. Wanted to give you a better visual of what I was trying to explain there. So I've walked around several times looking to see what else could I say about this thing. I think I pretty much covered it. Great piece of kit, okay? And I think the number one reason why I bought it to begin with simply boiled down to cost, all right? They're still on sale, $28.99 Canadian, all right? And everything else I was looking at was $1,000 or more, all right? Unfortunately, in Canada, we have to pay for shipping for large items. And it was a substantial amount, so be prepared for that, okay? I live in New Brunswick. There are 2 provinces over in Ontario, and it was $350 to have it shipped to my door, okay? Which 800 pounds of material, you gotta expect that, okay? In Canada, that is, anyway, all right? So, I love it. It has changed my workouts dramatically here at the office. It's been a game changer since the moment I started using it. All right. And there are little things I've done to make it easier. And I've covered here a few or a couple of them. And yeah. And because of all these excellent videos that I'm making and you guys are enjoying, BeFit has been nice enough to say, hey man, we'll send you some stuff. What do you want? So they're going to send me some jammer arms here soon. I'm not sure when it's in the mail or not, but they reached out to me and said, hey, we're going to send you jammer arms. Send us your mailing address. I was like, awesome. So when I get the jammer arms, I'll do a full review of those as well, which I'm very excited for because some of the Chris Bumstead off-season training I'm doing, he does a session in there where it's like a seated press. And I think that'll be awesome for addition, to my chest routine. All right. And a few others. Okay. So I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope this helps for you to decide what you're looking for in a functional trainer and what things to be aware of and what things that you would like. Okay. I love this thing. I'm not just, I'm not being paid by BeFit or anything like that. Yes, they've offered to send me some equipment for free. That's cool, but they're not paying me. So I'm doing this because one, I like helping people. I did a ton of research before I bought this thing, and I know how overwhelming it can be. So I hope this video is a great tool for you, for your aid in buying your first functional trainer. Okay. If you have any questions, please comment down below and I'll be as helpful as I possibly can. All right. So happy hunting. Enjoy building your home gym. And I'll see you next time. Corey Noel, veteran trainer, out.